Folks. That's the Licorice Alive section, the opening little piece of this podcast, and that was a selection from the album Go, which was Dexter Gordon's classic Blue Note album. The tune was Cheesecake, and that's my little Licorice Alive version of the Dexter Gordon classic to those in the know. To most people, probably not so, but it was off the great album Go, which was a Blue Note recording, and it featured the hard bop piano icon Sonny Clark and the world-class Blue Note regular, and that's the drummer, Billy Higgins. Billy Higgins is personally important to me because he is the founder of the World Stage, and that's the cultural center and musical hang, and that's where I enjoy my Thursday night jam session down in Lamert Park in the heart of the hood. And that was founded by Billy Higgins, who was featured as the drummer on Dexter Gordon's classic Blue Note album Go, and that tune, Cheesecake, was from that album. And additionally, Dexter Gordon, some of you may have seen him. He was prominently portrayed, and not portrayed, he actually played a part in the movie Around Midnight. But more importantly, Dexter was one of LA's favorite sons, and perhaps the most important musical product of LA's Street of Dreams, Central Avenue. And Central Avenue runs in a north and southerly direction, just on the very eastern edge of downtown. The center downtown the northern terminus is right near Little Tokyo, and it runs down in a north and south direction. And Central Avenue in the late 40s and 50s was a jazz mecca. If you wanted to play this new music, and by that I mean the small combo jazz music that Dizzy Gillespie and Charlie Parker made famous and brought to the fore, Central Avenue was the place to be. It was an avenue lined with clubs and after-hour clubs and after-hour clubs and chicken shacks and all kinds of food and musical hangs, and it was the one place in LA where people of all color and all races could commingle on an equal basis in the 40s and 50s, and that was till, of course, the cops pretty much put an end to that kind of behavior and destroyed the avenue. And that's definitely a podcast for another time. But if you were around and you wanted to be listening to the new music, Central Avenue was the place to be. And if you were making that hang in the late 40s, early 50s, I think probably one of the central figures of that hang in L.A. was Dexter Gordon. So in my view, he was the king of the avenue until he got locked up for heroin and drugs like so many did. But he eventually found his fame as an important recording artist, first overseas. And Cheesecake is one of his coolest compositions from the album Go. So that was my Licorice Alive section here. To open this episode number 13 of Rebel Without Applause, the Bill Kalmanson podcast. Anyway, greetings. This is me, Bill K. Kalmanson, that is. I am just a lonely merchant of mirth and abstract and brief chronicler of the cockeyed caravan called life. And this time, I am not coming to you from the comfortable perch of my movie studio apartment in the heart of the Holly, the wood of the Holly, but rather I am coming to you from the 6th floor of the fabled Tropicana Hotel in that den of capitalistic iniquity, Las Vegas. Yeah, baby, it's Rat Pack revisited, and I'm here on the rare occasion I am plying my trade on the stand-up stage of the Tropicana Hotel as a lonely merchant of mirth. And I can look out from my window and see the Strip, Tropicana Boulevard, the MGM Hotel, and the inhospitable desert reaching out into the horizon. The Trop is probably, I think, the last resort on the Strip that could still be described as quaint, at least for a casino. The Trop, as it was affectionately called, is, I think, one of the oldest, if not the oldest, continuously operating casino on the Strip. It's across the street from the MGM, and as I said, catty corner to the Mandalay Bay Hotel. The Tropicana opened, when did it open? It opened in 1957, and it was founded by Ben Jaffe, who was a mob-linked hotelier from Miami Beach. And the hotel, like I said, was founded by this hotelier from Miami Beach, and it provided a very comfortable cash flow to mob boss Frank Costello, and then later in the 70s to a Kansas City crime syndicate. So the Tropicana is deeply embedded in the gangster Mafia tradition of Las Vegas. It lives today, and I'm fortunate enough to be performing here at the Laugh Factory stage right here in the heart of the Strip. And it's funny because even though I haven't been here in over a year and a half to perform, I do feel strangely at home here. And actually, my earliest memories as a human being are indeed from Las Vegas. I lived here as a very young boy from like 1959 to I think like 1962 before we migrated across the desert to Los Angeles as a young family. And even to this day, I have memories. I can still see my young, beautiful mother when she came home from the hospital with my brand new infant baby sister, Cindy. I can remember the hotels, which back then were pretty much just a row of low-lying bungalows that surrounded swimming pools. The casino floors were like, well, they were like extended living rooms with spring-loaded one-armed bandits and buffets that would just go on forever. I remember the desert, the cacti, Red Rock Canyon, and the mountains casting their shadows in the distance. It was just a place of wide-open spaces, which are now filled with housing tracts. And as a young little 4-year-old or 5-year-old, I felt, I don't know, it made me feel like I was just a Wild West cowboy. I used to just get out on the edge of the desert and scream, hee-haw, as loud as I could with my little toy cap guns firing. And it just felt, back in those days, that freedom was everywhere. We had moved out from the East Coast with a short stop in Tucson, Arizona, and I still have memories also when my dad would park his convertible at the edge of the airport runway, and we'd lean back on those Naugahyde seats and watch those big propeller jobbies take off and land. I love that. I also remember, I have one sort of specific memory. I do have a recollection of a dusty desert playground and being on a teeter-totter with a pretty little girl in knee socks and pigtails, and up and down we went on this teeter-totter, smiling and laughing. Tears of joy must have been streaming down my face, or was it just a desert wind? I'm not sure. But down she plummeted, and up I ascended, and then when I was up at the apex, so high it seemed that I could actually see the curve of the earth from my perch atop the apex point of this teeter-totter. And then, at that thrilling moment, that little cutie in pigtails and knee socks dismounted the teeter-totter, and I came crashing back to earth in a dusty heap of skin and bones, my elbows and knees skinned red, my lip bloodied. And that, I believe, was my first lesson with girls. And it's a lesson I've been relearning my whole life. I think the hardest lessons in life you have to learn over and over again. And so those are a quick collection of my earliest memories, and they all started here in Las Vegas. Clearly, Vegas has changed mightily since those good old Mafia days to Vegas. Today, Vegas is really, I think it's a shrine to corporate capitalism, a mecca for conspicuous consumption and adult fun, or at least so I've heard. The fun part, I've only heard secondhand. For me, I'm not so sure. And as I look out across the desert from my window, I see the cabs and scurrying back and forth, the pedestrians walking across the bridges that link the hotels across the big avenues. And I think, but for the invention of the air conditioner no human being in his right mind would visit this place. I mean, but for the engineering miracle of the Hoover Dam, which captured and contained the mighty Colorado River, Vegas would be just a strip, yes, a strip of railroad across a sandy moonscape. And this place is just left to its own devices, so inhospitable to life, not even the Indians hung out here. I mean, if you were unfortunate enough to wander into this valley, you would surely be reduced to a bleached set of bones left to rot under a merciless desert sun, and such is Las Vegas. Now, the Trop, for those of you that haven't been here, is situated across from the MGM and catty corner to the Gilded Mandalay Bay Hotel, and that is the same Mandalay Bay Hotel where almost a year ago, less a few weeks, that a goofball with his arsenal of machine guns and bump stocks gunned down 58 people at a country music festival. And it was just last night when I was working with Harry Basil, and he showed me on his iPhone a video taken during this assault. And you can see, just some like pinprick flashes coming from the hotel. And then you hear this rapid fire pop, 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 pop of machine gun that most certainly meant death for some country music lover below. Truly terrifying. I mean, I don't really know what to make of this kind of insanity in our country. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I hate country music too, but I don't go killing people for it. I mean, I say, maybe I would say, yeah, could you just please turn down the volume? Anyway, an American massacre right here under my nose, so to speak, here at the hotel or just across catty corner. And as far as I can see from my hotel room, there is no memorial, no marker, no nothing. The party beat never stops in Vegas. The show goes on relentlessly. I don't know. Maybe that's why I play jazz. There's no mass murderers go to jazz shows. Why? Because nobody goes to jazz shows. They're completely safe. If you're lucky, there's just a few homeless people, maybe somebody who got lost or misread an address. So jazz shows are relatively immune from the scourges of mass murderers because nobody goes to jazz shows. So here I am in Vegas. It's been almost... Well, geez, I hate to admit it, but it's really been a year since I've walked the stand-up comedy high wire. And so I'm here trying to channel my inner Lenny Bruce and at the same time not be too far off the rails so that I keep the gig. Then by that I mean I don't get fired. And so far, I mean, what are we now? It's Thursday night. We started Monday, 2 shows a night. The shows have gone pretty well, I think. Of course, my opinion may not be the same as management's, but I'm still here. I wasn't fired. Haven't been yet. And after a few days, all the shows, they kind of just sort of all blend into one. I've worked in some new material, recycled and refreshed some of my staple bits. I would like to get more, timely, more political for this audience, kind of explore the Trumpy, Kavanaugh conspiracy, get that into my spiel. But I tell you, the time on stage goes by real fast. And sometimes you look out across the darkness and you see these faces that for sure are brimming with hatred, infused with the Trumpy sort of virus. And I tread cautiously into that. I certainly don't want to be cowardly, but you have to do it in a way that is funny, so that the comedy always triumphs over whatever the message is. I don't have the same liberties as those on MSNBC. I have to amuse and delight and reach out to all. So it's a challenge. But for me, the biggest challenge is what to do, honestly, with those long, desperate hours between shows, Normally what I try to do is find a rhythm here for the week. I get up and I swim in the beautiful pretzel-shaped pool that exists between the towers of the Tropicana Hotel. I like to get my workout in before the hippos and the rhinos and the elephants from the Midwest splash into that pool and crowd me out. Sometimes I feel like I'm in a swamp on the Serengeti Plain, all the massive mammalian wildlife that treads in that pool. But whatever. I'm trying to be kind. I have to entertain these people. I have to make them laugh. I have to please. I have to delight. That's my gig. I just can't sit and hate them. Remember, Bill, you are a lover of humanity, not a hater. That's definitely true. Actually, I have devised a new workout in the pool, and that's sort of fun. And what I do is I warm up with a few circuitous laps around the sort of pretzel-shaped perimeter of the pool. Then I put on a snorkel and I do kick drills. Then I do dolphin jumps springing off the shallow bottom. Then a few more pretzel laps, and then out of the pool and hit the employee cafeteria and try and scavenge something that is indeed edible. After that, back to my room for some reading and writing and ruminating. And then I begin the long, nervous countdown to that first show at 8:30 p.m. And then I do it again at 10:30, 7 days straight, 14 shows. Could be worse. Could be, there's something massively indulgent about working for less than an hour while the rest of the world is slaving their ass off. Life, for sure, is not fair. What up? What else? What's going on beyond the cozy confines of my hotel room? The Kavanaugh showdown is drawing to its hideous climax. Frankly, the PVP, and for those of you that don't know, the PVP is Putin's vice president, has offered up another blue-eyed Republican pretty boy with a Stepford wife and some well-scrubbed children, all of whom look like they were bred and scripted and groomed for this very moment. But this time, I believe the stakes could not be higher, with just one more committee hearing and one more vote. And then it's quite possible that the right-wing wet dream could be realized. No more choice. No more Roe v. Wade, once again consigning the young and the poor to the dark days of coat hangers and backstreet bloodbaths. Those are the stakes as we ruminate this confirmation. And it looks like it could happen, but wait, not so fast. Maybe not. A ghost from out of his murky white bread past has stepped bravely out of the shadows. There's an accusation. It seems there was a party many, many years ago where the alcohol flowed inside what was certainly a comfortable suburban house somewhere in the dark heart of the WPL. That's white people land, where good boys got drunk. Good boys lusted, and one of those boys reached and grabbed and forced himself on a girl. The girl twisted and strained against the weight of the boy. She tried to scream, and he covered her mouth. The next morning, the boy wakes up with puke on his shirt and a nasty hangover. He's half proud and half ashamed. Proud that, he finally made a move. Ashamed that maybe he was a little too aggressive. No matter, he thinks. Nothing happened. It's all good. She'll get over it. Hey, chicks always do. Anyway, good boys will be boys, and good girls will suffer the consequences. Because the good girl can't sleep. Yeah, she won't sleep for months, maybe even years, as her nightmares rage and her trauma torments. But as it always does, time passes, memory fades, resentments are buried, the good boy goes on to college and then law school, and then he scores big jobs and prestigious appointments as he worms his way up the gilded Republican legal ladder. It's funny, I was reminded of my adventures, my very recent adventures in the Uberverse. That's as an Uber driver. And it was, when was this? Last Saturday night. It was after a pickup from the airport. I dropped somebody off in Long Beach. And then once in Long Beach, I was in the neighborhood of Cal State Long Beach, the college of the same name, and I picked up four very attractive co-eds who were bouncing I guess from party to party. They were all smiles and giddy from alcohol. They were very pretty, short skirts, breasts on high beam, ready to break hearts and take names. Anyway, they piled into my car and were gabbing away in fluent sorority speak, and my mission was to get them to another frat party. So, following this Uber app, it deposited me in front of a house with those obnoxious huge Greek letters above the front door, and milling around were young men in togas, unsteady on their feet with goofy smiles and half-consumed bottles of vodka dangling between their fingers. And to my ancient and somewhat experienced eyes, it looked like something out of Animal House circa 1978. Anyway, a few of the boys, they saw me pull up. They waved dreamily at the girls inside, and they swarmed the car. They yanked at the doors, and immediately I just hit the locks. And I said to the girls, listen, you guys, you don't need to get out. I can take you, if you like, somewhere else. So the girls looked at each other, and they said, forget it. Let's get out of here. And then another girl jumped in, and she says, but wait, my boyfriend's best friend is pledged to this house. We should go, otherwise he'll be mad. Oh, my God, oh, my God, oh, my God, oh, my God, they murmured. What to do? Well, fortunately, wisdom prevailed, and the girl who ordered the Uber updated their destination, and we jetted out of there. So, what can I say? Tragedy averted, I hope, or at least, if not tragedy, maybe some nightmares and were averted, maybe 20 years of therapy and maybe a lifetime of PTSD, all of which were avoided by a simple choice to move on. Anyway, sometimes it does all seem so precarious. Our lives, our health, our happiness, like it's all hanging from a thread. I don't know. Maybe we're all marionettes and some invisible someone is pulling the strings. Just like Gloucester says in Act 4 of King Lear, as flies to wanton boys are we to the gods. They kill us for their sport. I don't know. Maybe that's too deep. Maybe not. Anyway, I do have a show I have to prepare for tonight. And how do I prepare? I just sit around and get nervous and think about what I'm going to say and what I might not say. And I need to ruminate that. And once again, I'm reminded as I sit here with my little clip-on mic between my fingers that my need to express, my need to shout out far outweighs anybody's desire to listen. And so, if you did, I'm indebted to you, and I extend to you my heartfelt gratitude. And if you liked it, hey, write a review. Click on some of those stars on your podcast app and let the world know you dig it. And until then, until next week, from Vegas, I bid you all adieu, adios, and goodbye.